Whispers of an ancient language, echoes of a troubled past, and the promise of an adventure off the beaten track to a bright present and future. This is Estonia, a country that has long been overlooked by the world at large. From the cobblestone streets of its charming capital Tallinn, to the pristine beaches, historical landmarks and breathtaking wild forests and lakes, Estonia is a land of contrasts and surprises. Join our road trip and peel back the layers of history, tradition, and innovation that have made Estonia a true gem of the Baltic region and a well-kept secret among adventure lovers all over Europe.
We are leaving Helsinki now and we're going to the ferry and then to our first Baltic state, which is Estonia.
We chose the Tallinn-Silja line ferry that takes approximately 2 hours and is actually a very fast-forward ride.
It's also interesting for me sometimes, who has been to a lot of places, to really see that sometimes we are still blind to some countries and really have no clue. And I mean, I guess that's the same for all of us. Once you have been there, you really soak up the culture, you get to know it, you also get to know all the information about the country, you read up about the government, you see the capital cities. It's just really so enriching to get to know these parts of the world. And yeah, with Estonia, I'm very sorry to say that, but for me, that is a really fresh and new country that I have no clue about. So this will be a little adventure, I'm sure.
Situated in Northern Europe, Estonia finds itself at the crossroads of Scandinavia and the Baltic region. It has a strategical position along the eastern coast of the Baltic Sea, sharing borders with Latvia to the south and Russia to the east, but is also easy to reach with a ferry from Finland or Sweden. Its location between countries and seas has shaped Estonia's history and culture, as it has served as a crucial trade route between Western and Eastern Europe for centuries.
So we took the ferry from Helsinki to Tallinn, and we're still on the ferry actually. And now the Estonian land is appearing here, and you already can see some of the biggest sites of Tallinn. One is its TV tower, and that is here.
Estonia is one of the least populated countries in Europe, with an average of just 30 people per square kilometer or 77 people per square mile. This low population density has allowed Estonia to preserve its pristine natural beauty, with over 20% of the country designated as protected areas, including 5 national parks and numerous nature reserves. Even though I didn't know much about Estonia and its regions before traveling there, this fact was indeed what made me want to go from the start. And then we arrived in Tallinn.
Welcome to Estonia, a new country for all of us.
We stayed for 2 nights to explore the Estonian capital that we had heard already a lot about.
We arrived in Tallinn, and first things first, a walk in the beautiful old town.
Tallinn is the capital of Estonia, and it seamlessly weaves together its medieval roots and contemporary spirit. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, inviting visitors to explore its labyrinth of cobblestone streets, Gothic towers, and century-old buildings. Tallinn's old town dates back to the 13th century, making it one of the best preserved medieval cities in Europe. The city's origins can be traced back even further to the 11th century, when it was a bustling trading center. Over the centuries, Tallinn's old town has been influenced by various ruling powers, including the Danes, Germans, Swedes, and Russians, each leaving their mark on the city's architecture and culture. St. Olav's Church from the 12th century was indeed once the tallest building in the world, standing at 159 meters or 522 feet before its spire was struck by lightning in 1625. It remains an iconic landmark in Tallinn's skyline though. Yes, Tallinn is so lovely that I could have made a whole video about Estonia's capital, but because this is supposed to be a video about a road trip, I will make it short and just name a few things that should be on your bucket list in Tallinn. Visit the newly built Rotermann Quarter with its little designer shops and fantastic restaurants. A place you can't miss out on is the bakery Rost. They are said to have the best cinnamon buns in the Baltic states, and we can confirm. We actually decided to stay in the Rotermann Quarter because parking in Tallinn's old town is impossible. So we are visiting today Noblessner, which is a newer area of town. I mean, not new, but it's old harbor. And there are a lot of new buildings and structures and restaurants and cafes. We're very early, so nothing is open probably, but still, we're gonna check it out. Tallinn is thriving, and there are so many new structures built in old industrial areas. Another example is the Noblessneri Quarter at the Old Harbor. Tallinn also has a rising culinary scene, and I indeed can recommend 2 restaurants you have to go to on your Tallinn visit. Rataks Kevu restaurant that serves classical Estonian dishes with a modern twist, and there's a toilet with a view on Tallinn's underground. And our favorite restaurant of all the Baltic states, the Kurze. The owner and chef is from Dagestan, an autonomous region at the Caspian Sea close to Georgia, and serves the most delicious homemade food in a very unlikely location. A cozy container and garden right next to the railways. Please try the dumplings, the khachapuri, and at least one of the meat dishes from the grill. Every single dish we had was nothing else than amazing. And because I have been to Dagestan on my world trip when I drove from Georgia over the Chechen Republic to Russia, the owner of the Kurze gave little A a present for our future trip with a camper van. Our time in Tallinn, in the Estonian capital, is coming to an end, and we're starting our drive through the country now, which I'm super excited about because there's supposed to be nice beaches, beautiful nature, and lots of things to discover. We went to Veena-Jõesuu beach, a short 40-minute drive from Tallinn, and basically had it all to ourselves. It's crazy because there are so many options to go to beaches, and as far as I can judge, I think they're all beautiful. So didn't really expect to have so many very beautiful beaches so close to Tallinn. Estonia boasts a stunning coastline that stretches for over 3,700 kilometers and has pristine sandy beaches, yet not too touristic, which offer a perfect blend of natural beauty and tranquility. With more than 1,500 islands dotting its shores, Estonia's beaches are a heaven for those seeking unspoiled landscapes and a chance to escape the hustle and bustle of modern life.
After arriving in Tallinn, since this was the first stop of the trip, we were already wondering if Estonia might be super crowded because there were quite a lot of tourists in Tallinn. And don't get me wrong, we loved it because it's beautiful, but we were a little bit scared that Estonia, because it's a rather small country, would be also full of tourists. Only other travelers we met were Estonian people. So on the countryside, Estonia is really not much a destination yet for a lot of travelers, and that was actually took us a little bit by surprise then after Tallinn that was so busy.
The Baltic countries in general, and Estonia in particular, is often a bit overlooked by the rest of Europe. But it's not only a lovely travel destination, but also boasts a 8,000-year-long history. From ancient times to the present day, Estonians have faced numerous challenges, including foreign occupation, war, and the struggle for independence. Throughout these trials, Estonia has managed to preserve its unique language, which is closely related to Finnish and is considered one of the most ancient languages still spoken in Europe, and one of the most difficult to learn in the world. Estonia's rich cultural heritage is evident in its stunning medieval architecture, traditional handcrafts, and vibrant folk music scene. But Estonia is also a digital pioneer. It was the first country in the world to introduce online voting in national elections in 2005. Northern Estonia is the country's most visited area, and there are well-known sites like the famous Rummu Quarry. That was our next destination. The Rummu Quarry in northern Estonia was once the site of a Soviet-era prison. Inmates were forced to work in the harsh conditions of the mine. The prison only closed in 2012 though, but the limestone quarry quickly filled with groundwater, creating a surreal turquoise lake that has become a popular destination for locals and tourists alike. The beauty of Rummu Quarry is a result of nature's ability to reclaim what was once an industrial site. The crystal clear waters of the lake are now surrounded by rugged limestone cliffs and verdant greenery, creating a landscape that is both breathtaking and serene. We were a bit unlucky with our visit though.
I don't know if you just heard that or if you're hearing that. Now, just when we arrived here, there is like a big thunderstorm coming. You see a bit here, there's still blue sky, but on the other side, all the sky is completely dark. So that's a bit of pity because you can swim here, but I think our time here is limited because it looks as if big rain is just about to start. We waited for quite a long time for the rain to stop, but it didn't. So we continued our drive now to our final destination today, which is supposed to be a fantastic place, and I'm very curious about it. Hide with me, hide with me, hide with me. Maidla Nature Resort is located in the picturesque countryside of northern Estonia. Spanning over 3,000 hectares, this stunning resort is home to a diverse array of landscapes, including lush forests, small creeks, and sprawling wetlands. And the best? There are only 3 little villas, each designed by a different famous architect, that are just surrounded by nature. The main building of the Maidla Resort is its old mansion, the former home of the Maidla family that became an orphanage in the 1900s and now is still waiting to be renovated. The Maidla Resort so far were able to restore the old servants' house that these days is home of a Michelin star restaurant called SOO, with only a few tables and where breakfast for the guests is served. At our time of visiting it was closed, so we opted for a fantastic meal that was served right to our villa. We arrived now at the nature resort had dinner, and it's really stunning. It has a beautiful boardwalk. Sun is shining. I have to carry this little colleague here, and yeah, it's really a very beautiful piece of nature. You look here around me, it's all a little bit like wetlands, but yeah, so a lot of plants are growing here, a lot of mosquitoes here, but otherwise it's really stunning.
Close to Meidla, there are a lot of well-maintained hiking trails which wind through the wilderness and offer breathtaking views of the surrounding countryside. Well, Little A loved them, and we enjoyed the serene beauty of Estonia's landscape much more than we had anticipated before visiting. From now on, our route took us further to Estonia's east. One destination that I would have loved to visit and that we missed due to our decision to head further to the Estonian-Russian border is Saaremaa Island in Estonia's west, which is Estonia's biggest and also most popular island. But today our decision making was not only based on our liking, but mostly on Little A's. And so we soon stopped at what I think was one of the biggest highlights for Little A of this whole Baltic States trip.
So we went to this crazy place here basically because of Little A, because he's crazy about vehicles, and it's pretty cool. It's all these old cars, motorcycles, tractors, and you can also touch them and sit in them.
This is definitely not a typical car museum with shiny vehicles that are standing on display polished behind ropes. The Museum of Soviet Vehicles in Järva-Jaani in Estonia is mainly an open field exhibition with a fascinating collection of Soviet-era machinery, partly rusty and very unlikely to ever drive out of this yard again. But therefore, you are allowed to touch them, sit in them, and soak up their whole atmosphere.
This is the best, huh? How's that? Is this nice, Katona, ne?
Inside the main building, you can find more exhibitions about fire trucks and other machinery. But to be honest, Little A barely let us look at anything else than the outdoor cars, tractors, buses and fire trucks he wanted to climb into. And yes, we came for Little A, but we all loved this place. Don't visit Estonia without coming here. Our real goal on this day was to drive as many small roads as possible and to find a lovely place to camp in our van, preferably on a lake or other source of water. It was still very early in the day when we reached the lake Entusinjärv, otherwise we would have considered camping at this natural wonder. Entusinjärv, or Blue Lake, is situated in Lahimaa National Park in Estonia. This mesmerizing lake is renowned for its crystal clear blue-green water. And yes, it is that clear in reality too, because the lake is fed by underground springs. The water is indeed that clear and fresh that it is said to have healing properties. Estonia has a very complex history that is not easily broken down in a few sentences, but I will try anyways. After being influenced by the Viking and German crusaders, it got under Danish and Swedish rule from the 13th to the 16th century. Following the Great Northern War in the early 18th century, Estonia became part of the Russian Empire. In the aftermath of World War I and the Russian Revolution, Estonia declared its independence in 1918. This period of independence only lasted a few decades though. Estonia was incorporated into the Soviet Union in 1940, along with the other Baltic states of Latvia and Lithuania. During World War II, Estonia was occupied by both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. In 1944, the Soviet Union reoccupied Estonia, and it remained a part of the USSR until 1991. You can find many historical reminders of Estonia's Soviet past when traveling the country. One of them is Ruhu Rocket Base that lies remotely in the middle of a beautiful forest.
Because this road is so grown in, I now have to try to reach this base by feet because we don't want to go in here with the truck.
During the Cold War, this secluded location served as a top-secret Soviet missile base, housing a number of nuclear-capable medium-range ballistic missiles aimed at targets in Western Europe. Today the base is pretty much a ruin, but it is a great destination and offers a thought-provoking experience to learn about Estonia's past while touring the underground bunkers, missile silos, and other facilities, learning about the strategic importance of the base and the tense geopolitical climate of the Cold War era. The few information signs are only in Estonian though, so make sure to get your information online before visiting, because, surprise, there was really not that much internet connection at the base. From the Ruhu rocket base we took the roads even further east, to Estonia's border with Russia, because Estonia and Russia share a beautiful natural gem, Lake Peipus, where we wanted to find a campground.
Thank you so much. And we can park wherever we want, right? Okay.
On the northwestern shore of Lake Peipus you find Kauksi, and the area offers a wide range of camping opportunities from huts to tents to campgrounds without any facilities like showers or toilets. We opted for the last and found ourselves in a beautiful forest where we could just pick our favorite spot to camp behind the dunes on the lake.
We are at Lake Peipus and it's such a little paradise, this campground. You pay €5 and you can basically stand wherever you like in this forest. Wow, it's really big. Look at this. You can't see the other side.
Lake Peipus is the 5th largest lake in Europe and is situated at the border between Estonia and Russia. It is serving as a natural boundary and a testament to the region's complex history and has been the scene of numerous battles and historical events, including the famous battle on the ice in 1242. Today the lake's unique ecosystem supports a diverse array of flora and fauna, making it a heaven for bird watchers and nature lovers.
Can it be any more cozy? So nice. Perfect little dinner. We are on Lake Peipus now. We actually already had dinner and it's crazy. As you can see behind me, you can't see the other side. So you really have like an ocean feeling here on the lake, which makes it, I don't know, maybe even nicer than a usual lake. It's really, really cool, and this campground is absolutely stunning. I feel like a jackpot tonight. Really one of the best places in the last days. Good morning, everyone, from our beautiful campsite. You see, here's our table, and we are about to make breakfast now. I think some eggs and bread, cheese. Will be nice. And the start to a new day in Estonia. Welcome to our little breakfast. Eggs, strawberries, tomatoes, and the best, the real deal, blueberries. So I bought something that we found in all stores, but I have no clue what it is. I guess it's something like a cream cheese or something like that, but remains to be seen. So let's try this. I think it's like something in between cream cheese and soft cheese, like a very soft cheese. Tastes good.
The drive along the western shore of Lake Peipus is beautiful. Stop in the village Kallaste and the shack Peipsi Kallapunkt for lunch, or just enjoy the view on the tiny and beautiful houses all along the way and coast of Lake Peipus. We mostly met Estonian travelers on Lake Peipus, so it's still a bit overseen by the big crowds. But that made it even more attractive for our taste. For us, Lake Peipus, with its stunning natural beauty and rich historical significance, is a must-visit destination for anyone exploring Estonia and the wider Baltic region, and was indeed one of our absolute favorite places on this journey.
We just had the best experience, and then also driving around Lake Peipus was quite interesting because it gets quite residential, and to see how people build their houses there, how well they are maintained also. It's literally, we started to joke a little bit because all the gardens in Estonia, the grass is flawless. I have never been to a country where the gardens were so well taken care of. And we started to joke about it a little bit because we said if your garden is not looking good, you're lost in society in Estonia. It might be true. People from Estonia watching, maybe you can fill us in about your garden culture.
Meanwhile, we all know, when traveling through Estonia, you always travel with its history. And listening to music on the remote forest roads we took reminded us that music is indeed an essential part of the Estonian identity. Estonia is known as the land of singing, as the country's tradition of choral music played a crucial role in its peaceful fight for independence during the singing revolution of the late 1980s.
There is a lot of traces of different eras in the Estonian history, and even if you went to the most remote forest, for example to the Rohu rock base, you found these traces of the history. And I think that's also very interesting and very important to see how things changed, to also witness these fights for independence that some countries had, and it's especially in Estonia's and the other Baltic states' cases kind of inspiring even to see how they were occupied for such a long time and then really got the strength in a non-violent demonstration and revolution to fight for their independence.
The Singing Revolution was a series of peaceful protests and demonstrations that took place between 1987 and 1991, where Estonians used their rich tradition of choral music and singing as a form of non-violent resistance against Soviet rule. The Singing Revolution began in 1987, when Estonians started to openly express their desire for greater autonomy and freedom from the Soviet Union. One of the most significant moments of the Singing Revolution occurred on September 11, 1988, when nearly 300,000 Estonians gathered at the Tallinn Song Festival ground to sing patriotic songs and demand independence. This event, known as the Song of Estonia, demonstrated the power of collective singing and its ability to unite people and demonstrate the power of non-violent resistance. The movement also spread to the neighboring Baltic states of Latvia and Lithuania, which were also under Soviet rule. In August 20, 1991, the Estonian parliament formally declared Estonia's independence from the Soviet Union.
So this will be our last little detour here at this, I think it's kind of like nature reserve here in Estonia, because we're gonna cross the border today to Latvia. And yeah, these forests of Estonia, they're really so beautiful. I think Estonia was a little surprise package to all of us, to me, to the travel partner, and also to little A. We arrived in Estonia and we knew that it would be kind of like a little adventure anyways, but we had not expected that we would like it as much as we actually did.
We listened to the whispers of Estonia's ancient language. We experienced an adventure off the beaten track. We walked the cobblestone streets of the charming capital Tallinn. We felt the sand of Estonia's pristine beaches on our bare feet. We visited historical landmarks and breathtaking wild forests and lakes. Yes, for us Estonia really was a land of contrasts and surprises. Estonia gave us everything we had expected and so much more. But we felt like we just started to explore this often overlooked region of the world. And what a start to exploring the Baltic region Estonia was. These are our last minutes in Estonia. It was a wonderful stay, and see you soon in Latvia. Yes, Estonia gave us everything, but there is more to come. The next Baltic state on our list is Latvia, and I guess you're all ready to explore it with me. But first, you guys let me know. Did you enjoy the road trip through Estonia as much as we did? If yes, give this video a thumbs up, comment, and click the bell button to subscribe. And then, see you in 4 weeks with our first breakdown with our van, rough roads, and another beautiful country, when it's time to go to Latvia.